Hey babes, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, my name is Birthday Ann, and today I am going to be making the skirt part of this two-piece. So I am going to be using these Dollar Tree yarn. They're both three weighted yarn, 100% acrylic, and it's in the color pop yarn. Both is recommended to be using the 5mm hook. So I have some yarning needle, tape measure, and I am going to be using the 5mm hook for this yarn. I have some stitch markers and some scissors. I did put those two yarns together and I made both of them into a cake because I wanted both colors and I wanted the yarn to be a little thick as it was very thin to use. But you could use one at a time, or you could do it like me and turn it into a cake. It's all up to you. I think the colors was very beautiful. To start off, I am going to start with a slip knot, which I wrap the yarn around both times and take the front to the back and then again the back. So I am going to chain 5. So that was 1, 2, 3. Please be careful when you're using both to make sure you take both yarns and pull it through the hoop. So I am just going to do single crochets all around, starting with the first stitch. So a single crochet is you put your hook through the stitch, pull through, you have 2 loops, and you pull through both loops. Okay, if you did it through the first stitch, you would have 4 single crochets. All right, after that I am going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to do another set of single crochet. So you pull your hook through, make sure you're taking both yarns and not just one. All right, don't do it too tightly or you will be messed up and you'll probably only pick up only one yarn and then you would have to go back. So take your time, just put your hook through, pull the yarn through, and yarn over, pull through again. All right, so I am going to do this step for about 91 rows, which is when I put it around my waist, it gives me 38 inches. All right, so we're always going to chain 1, turn our work around, and continue doing single crochets. My waist is about 38 inches, and because the yarn is not really stretchy at all, I did it for about 91 rows. All right, 91 rows got me to the exact same inches that I was looking for. So after I did my 91 rows, I take my tape measure just to show you guys that it is to my desired length. Make sure you kind of stretch it all the way out because you don't want it to be too loose and you don't want it to be too tight. Put it comfortably. So I'm putting this skirt on from the bottom up, so make sure it could go through your hip to go to your waist. All right, so find the side that you want it to be on the inside or on the outside. All right, so we're going to be working on the inside, and we're going to slip stitch this close. All right, so right now I'm just looking for which side I want to be the front side or which side I want to be the outside. So I'm going to be working on the inside at the moment. So I am going to slip stitch this. So I'm going to put my hook through. I'm going to make sure I take both yarn and pull through both of the ends. All right. I chain 1 just so I could have more of a leverage of when it stick down. So I'm just making sure I have the right side that I want to be on the inside and the side that I want to be on the outside. All right. So Make sure that you put it through both loops. So you're gonna pull through both of the both stitches on each of the side, and then you're just going to slip stitch this. To slip stitch, you put it through both set of stitch, and then once you pull through, you're gonna pull through the loop from your hook. All right, so you pull through, and then you see on the first one, you pull through the second one. Okay, and that's how I slip stitch this close. And I'm going to chain one. All right, so this is how it looks. I am going to turn it inside out, so I want to be working on the right side, which the right side for me is the one that's going to be on the outside. All right, so what I'm doing now is on every hole, I am just going to do a single crochet. So technically every single crochet, every chain one of the single crochet that I did for the waistband, I am going to put a single crochet in every chain one from the side. All right, so I'm going to do that all the way around the skirt to give it, because the edges are not really defined, so just to make the edges even, I'm just going to do single crochet all the way around until I come back to the beginning. All right, so I went ahead and came all the way around, and on that chain one, I am going to slip stitch this row close. So this is going to be technically row one. So on that first stitch that I did, I'm going to slip stitch this close, and then I'm going to move on to my next row. So I'm going to chain three, 1, 2, and 3, and I am going to put a double crochet in every single stitch going forward. All right, so a double crochet is yarn over, pull through, have 3 loops, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay, wrap your yarn around the hook once, pull through the stitch, and once you yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and that's double crochet. I'm going to double crochet all the way around until I come back to the other side. All right, so I am finishing up the second row, which technically this could be our first row of double crochet. So I am putting a double crochet on that last stitch, not the last stitch that have the that our chain 3 is, but our last stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch this on top of our chain 3. Again, I'm going to chain 3, wrap my yarn over on the first stitch. I'm going to put a double crochet. All right, and that is going to be our pattern for about 8 rows. For about 8 rows of double crochet, which gives me coverage to right above my hip, and then right when I get to my hip, I am going to do an increase, and I only increase for about 3 rows because my waist is 38 inches, but my hips is about 40 and a half, 41 inches. All right, so I finished with my 8 rows that I wanted, and I just went ahead and I counted 45 stitches on each side to find the side that I want to increase. I'm going to increase from the sides of my hips. So I took 2 stitch markers and I put it on each side. So I am just going to do 1 double crochet for every stitch until I get to that first stitch marker. All right, so I'm gonna wrap my yarn around. I'm gonna pull through, have 3 loops, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and I'm just going to keep on doing that until I get to my first stitch marker. Okay, so I am at the last stitch before our first stitch marker. I'm doing my last double. So in this stitch that had my stitch marker, I'm going to put 2 double crochet in the same stitch. So that was one double crochet, wrap my yarn around and pull my hook through that same stitch marker I did my first double crochet. So in one double crochet, in the first stitch, we're going to put 2 double crochet. So after my second double crochet in that first stitch, I just replaced my stitch marker. Just as a reminder, that is where I put my increase row. Again, the increase row is 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. All right. Once again, I came to the second stitch marker. So I'm going to put my last single double crochet in 1 stitch. I'm going to remove my stitch marker. And that one, I'm going to put 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. And that is going to be my increase. Find out your measurements and do the increase. Me personally, I try on as I go. All right, just in case if something seems a little too loose or too big, I could adjust it. All right, but for me, I just did 3 rows of increase, which will give me the about 41 inch that I need for my hips. All right, so I did my 3 rows of increase, so that was 1, 2, and 3. All right, so I did that. I'm just measuring it to show you guys that my 3 inches did get me to my desired length that I was looking for. Make sure you stretch everything out just for everything to fit you correctly. All right, so after my 3 rows of my 3 rows of increases, I am going to, as of now, once I counted, I'm up to, this is going to be my 12th row. So my 12th row is going to be no increases, no nothing. So it's just going to be 1 double crochet in every single stitch coming forth. All right, so I'm going to do that until I get my desired length before I start the slit that I'm looking for. Okay, now for the slit, I'm cutting my yarn and I am going to yarn in the end because we were working in the back of the skirt. Now we're just going to be working in the front. All right, so try on the skirt, find exactly where you want to put your slit from there. Okay, so once I had stopped, I had it's about 10 inches in length. Once I tried it on, that's where I stop, because I want this skirt to be a little short but not too short. It is this length, because I'm 5'5", this length is right kind of right below my butt. All right, so I did try it on. I put 3 stitch markers on where I want my slit to be. So I am gonna retake my yarn and I'm going to join in. I'm sorry about the lighting. My lighting was turned off and I couldn't find it because my sister was using it. But I hope you guys could still see with this lighting. So to rejoin the yarn, I'm going to pull my hook through and pull through the yarn, and I'm going to just do a slip stitch first just to secure the yarn. I'm just pulling through to have a nice little tail. Pull through to make sure I have a nice tail to weave in the end. And I'm going to put a double crochet after the slip stitch. So I'm gonna, in that same stitch I did my slip stitch, I am going to put a double crochet. So I'm gonna pull through 2 and pull through 2. All right, and then I'm going to continue putting 1 double crochet in every single stitch all the way around until I come to that second stitch marker that I have on the skirt, and that's where our slit is going to start happening. All right, so I'm just putting my stitch marker on that first stitch So once I do come around, I'll know where to put my chain 3 to start on the other row. If you know you won't forget, you don't need to do that extra step. But for me, I don't want to skip no rows or add any other rows, so that's how I am going to do it. And I'm going to come back until I come back to that stitch marker. So I am at my last stitch before the stitch marker, and I am going to put my double crochet, and I'm going to remove this stitch marker. So that middle stitch marker is telling me that do not put no stitch there, no nothing. So this is going to be my final double crochet in that particular row. All right, so I am going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to turn my work. All right, once I turn my work in that first stitch after the chain 3, we're going to put a double crochet, and then we're going to put our stitch marker right there again, just to make to let us know this is our first stitch for that row. All right, I'm gonna yarn over. On the next stitch, we're gonna put a double crochet, and that is going to be our pattern. We're going to be doing double crochet on every stitch all around, chain 3, turn our work around, and continue that. That's going to give us our slit for the dress. All right, so let's continue. Okay, all around until we come right back here. So I am back on the other side. I am gonna put my, that's the last double crochet before our stitch marker. We're gonna remove our stitch marker, and we're gonna put our final double crochet right there. Okay, and then after that we are going to chain 3. We're gonna do our chain 3, and we're gonna turn our work. Okay, so we're going to skip that chain right there, and we're going to go to the second chain, because for the slit I want it to be going a little outwards. So from now on until about a couple rows, I believe, I think I did 1 or 2 extra rows, skipping that very first stitch where our chain 3 is, and then going to that second stitch and putting our double crochet, just to give our skirt a little more of the slit going outwards look. It's up to you. You could do it more of a small close slit or more of a dramatic slit. I want mine's a little dramatic. That's why I'm skipping that first chain in our row. All right, and then we're gonna continue doing our double crochet all the way around until we come back on the other side. As you can see, the slit is opening more. It's going to open more out once I did skip that first stitch. Okay, all right, so we are coming back. Okay, we are coming to the end for our last 2 stitches. We are going to just putting the same way that we ended the other side. We're putting double crochet on every stitch until we get to the last. This is going to be our last double crochet, and then we're going to chain 3. We're going to turn our work, and just like the other side, I am going to be skipping that first stitch that have the chain 3 and going to the next one and putting a double crochet in there. All right, just to have our slit open up a little wider. And then we're going to take our stitch marker, and we're going to put that right there on that first stitch to know where we had started with this row. And like normal, every single stitch is going to have a double crochet. As you can see, our slit is getting wider. It's getting wider, and that's what we want. All right, so I did that for about 2 or 3 rows, and then for our last couple rows, we are just going to be working as normal on every single stitch. So I'm going to put 1 double crochet on that very first stitch that's closest to our chain 3. I'm going to wrap around our yarn over, and on every single stitch we are going to put our double crochet. All right, so keep doing that. I am going to do that until I have my desired length, which I don't want it to be too long, which is probably going to be above my knees. So I did probably around like 5 more rows, I believe. So the same way that I did on the other side, I'm doing it on here. That was our last stitch, double crochet. All right, and we're gonna chain 3, turn our work, and on that very first stitch we're gonna continue. All right, we're not skipping no stitches anymore. We're just going to be doing double crochet on every single stitch going forward. So I did try it on, make sure that it's to your liking, the width is to your liking, and the length is to your liking. All right, so I did it right as it was getting under my hip dip area, but before it gets to my knees. All right, so this is going to be the last row, and I'm going to put a final double crochet here. All right, and then I am going to be working on the side. So I am going to chain 1, and on the side I am just going to put a single crochet on every space. So in every space I'm going to put my hook through, yarn over, and pull through for a single crochet in every stitch on the slit area, just to give the edges a more finishing look, a more even look. All right, so on every single space I am going to put 1 single crochet in there. All right, so I am at the end of that skirt, so I am just going to put 1 single final single crochet, and I am going to make sure I leave in a long enough yarn so I could weave in the ends. All right, and that's the skirt. As you can see, this is the V of the skirt. So as you're working, make sure you try it on to for your liking, to make sure your stitches are okay, if it's not too see-through, if it's not too wide. And this is my final look. I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comments what you